Under the English Channel lies one of the greatest engineering achievements of the last century, the Channel Tunnel. But we're not here to celebrate cutting-edge engineering or international cooperation. It may have been tricky to build, but the Channel Tunnel is also a pig to keep clean. Tonight, they'll clean the tunnel, but not until the trains have stopped running. Meanwhile, there's another bit of cutting-edge engineering that needs a wash and brush up. The terminal roof. Spectacular from the outside and the inside, the Eurotunnel terminal roof is built like a giant tent. But it's absolutely filthy, covered in smelly, sticky, unsightly seagull excrement.
This atrium is the main feature of the building, and obviously people tend to look up when they come into the building. So if they look up, they will see staining from the bird droppings, and that's what we need to get rid of.
So twice a year, it has to be cleaned. Meet Sean and Alan, abseiling cleaners.
No, I'm not nervous. They're professionals. They know what they're doing. It's the only difference is that it's the first time they've been on this particular roof.
And for a first-timer, it's a bit mystifying.
It's just the access problems for one, and you can't get hands onto the glass up the top to give it a proper hands-on clean. So we have to use water-fed pole systems to basically clean it.
There's no actual footholds, but your anchorage, this sort of equipment here, that just holds you in place.
They had been expecting built-in anchoring points for their ropes, but there don't seem to be any. So instead, they've caught the roof in a giant lasso. If getting onto the roof is technical, the cleaning really isn't.
It's going to be with a very mild chemical, a lot of scrubbing, manual labour.
The first cleaning challenge of the day is the tilted window on top. It's not possible to climb onto the glass.
This is madness, mate.
Suspended by their harnesses from just below the window, the lads have to do what they can with their water-fed pole system.
After the glass now, we're going to start coming down with the canopy, but the canopy's more hands-on.
Hands, feet and knees on, more like. The tent is made of glass fibre with a coating like the stuff in a non-stick frying pan. It keeps the water off, but it's smooth, slippery, and with no hand or footholds. Tricky.
Come on.
Yeah. With the sunlight now coming out on us, the reflection of the white is giving us the snow blind effect, so everything is bright in your eyes.
They're cleaning with a mild detergent and deionized water. Bernie explains.
It's the pure water, the oxygens versus the hydrogens are agitated, and in order to get back into its original state, it needs the dirt and to pick up all its dirts and all that to stop it agitating. So that's what it's doing with that.
The agitated water is doing its job, and the roof is coming up lovely. The lasso system means they can't climb to the very top, but with a bit of stretching and extra long brushes, they've worked out how to get to the grime. Finally, it's done. One eccentric, smooth white cone and its tilted window, nice and clean.
It looked like a difficult task. It was quite difficult, but we managed to sort it out and got through it in the end.
And as the lads drive off, they can be confident they've left the Eurotunnel terminal in immaculate condition. But wait a minute, what's that on the glass? Oh no! At the Channel Tunnel, the last trains are passing through, but that's not the end of operations for the day. Every night, another group of travellers moves through, the tunnel cleaning team. Because it's 50 kilometres long, a manual clean would be far too slow. So, they've invented this, the tunnel cleaning train. The train's based on the French side, but tonight the clean is much closer to England, which means a bit of a commute. Waiting is British engineer Kevin Standish.
We're actually doing a full clean of the tunnel, which is from the 10 o'clock position right down all the rings, all the walkways, the trap base, and back up to the 2 o'clock position. This will be a full clean with the high pressure water behind us. Obviously operated by the train, the full cleaning train. This is our locomotive. This is what is our traction unit for pulling the full cleaning train units tonight.
The locomotive was used during construction, hauling out millions of tons of spoil when the tunnel was dug. Now it has to haul £1 million worth of cleaning gear and lots of water.
Here we have one of the 2 holding tanks, which obviously supplies all the water for the operation tonight. And as we come along, we've got the second tank here as well. They're 45,000 litres each.
That's enough water to clean 2 kilometres of tunnel. Now the train performs its nightly transformation. High-pressure washing nozzles and track cleaning mechanisms unfurl like a giant hatching beetle. Safety checks performed, the transformed train moves off. The tunnel clean begins. It's a good idea to stand well back.
It's high pressure, you don't want it hitting you, that's for sure. It can actually cause damage where it goes through the skin and causes all sorts of problems. That's why basically when you're working tonight, you've got to keep your distance, you know, because it is a dangerous piece of equipment with that high pressure water.
The clean is a vital part of the tunnel's safety regime. Grime builds up on the tracks and the tunnel walls. It comes from outside the tunnel, pulled in by the trains and from freight trucks and cars. It can cover vital warning signs, the evacuation walkways and safety equipment. Every part has to be cleaned at least once a fortnight. French chef d'équipe is Marcel Bourrin. We have to clean the tunnels 3 times a week, on a Friday, Saturday and a Sunday. Pumping 45,000 litres of water into the tunnel could be a problem. It flows downhill to drains, where it's filtered, then pumped back to Dover and out into the sea. Long before the first passengers go through the tunnel, the cleaning train will fold itself away and head back to France. The world's longest undersea tunnel is clean. But even beer involves a lot of filth. No, it's not some sort of wizard school, but they do perform a kind of magic here. Still steam-powered after 140 years of brewing, this is Hook Norton Brewery in Oxfordshire. Beer made in the traditional British way. In the fermenting room, a thick layer of yeast works on hops and malt to make one of Hook Norton's many beers. Something that hasn't changed in 140 years is the need to be clean. A bad cleanup will give you bad beer. Warriors in the battle for better beer are James Thompson and Dave Notman.
I mean, we've been here, what, 7 years now?
Yeah.
And we've never had a bad brew, have we?
No.
Never.
When the beer's been made, the fermentation vessel is a mess. It's coated in a yeasty, sugary scum.
Today, we're going to clean fermenting vessel number 1. It's now empty.
Meanwhile, James descends into vessel number 3, which has just finished a batch of haymaker.
It's just a mucky old job, Jim, isn't it? That's the thing. You know, you get a bit covered in yeast and
the tools of the trade are
ice scraper,
a windscreen ice scraper,
and a scary pad,
and a Brillo pad.
First job of the day, damp down the yeasty, sugary scum. Darker beers, like the Hooky Bitter made here, have higher sugar content and make the worst scum. While the scum soaks, get rid of the yeast.
This is all old yeast, this. This is all the stuff this goes down the plug hole at the end into a trolley on the floor below.
The spent yeast gets reprocessed and made into cattle feed. It's worth preparing the vessel carefully because it's going to make an awful lot of beer.
We normally put 125 barrels in this one. There's 4,500 gallons in here.
And if you went for your government recommended unit alcohol consumption, it will last you 11 years, 3 months, and 2 weeks and 4 days.
Yeah, that's it.
The scum's nicely softened up, so Dave and James get to work with the windscreen scrapers, something they probably didn't have 140 years ago. A quick rinse, and they'll do it all over again.
We then use the scary pads to make sure we got all the sugars off the side of the wall. If you don't clean all the old yeast off, your next brew would get contaminated.
The fermenting vessels look clean, but they aren't biologically clean.
We then wash the sides down then with the PAA, paracetic acid, which is a disinfectant.
It's so important to avoid bugs that James swabs the vessel at various designated points, then pops the swabs into a gadget that measures microbes. It's all clear. Time for another brew.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Good weekend.
Yeah, same to you.
If I get home tonight.
Coming up in the battle against Supersize Grime, in the lighthouse, even the litter is deadly.
We have to check for needles in the cans and the bottles.
And the £1 million train starts a world record tunnel clean. Time is running out for the teams tackling Britain's Supersize Grime. Coming up, cleaning the Channel Tunnel with water jets that can puncture skin.